is Irontrader, and this is Midday Trading. So we got Turnaround Tuesday going here. We got a nice green on the screen. Dow, S&P, NASDAQ all up here nicely. Okay, first of all, we'll take a look here at NVDA, and we'll take a look at PLTR, at Tesla, and then at OneStream, OS. Okay, this video is for information purposes only, not a recommendation to buy selling stock market ETF. Please subscribe. Thanks for watching. All right, here we have NVIDIA, your daily chart. Now you can see here, after this earnings, we came right on down, and now we have this sideways consolidation. Now you can see here how today we put this topping tail in here so far, 185.66. But the key is we have to get back above that 50-day at 186.84 and that 21-day at 187.26. Once we can clear that level, then we come over here to the top of that candle. You're looking at 189 flat. We'll look up top of here. You're looking at 191 here, and then we'll come up here. You're looking at 191.44, and then we'll look at this top of this candle here, that 196 level. Now, if it keeps right on ratcheting up here, eventually it will, 199.94, and then we want to look at the top of this candle. This is 197.93. There's your gap, and then we want to look to the bottom of that candle at 205.56. Okay, so we have your gap, your fill, and then we have that retest at 212.19. We break through that, you're going to go through that 225 area, and then rush, go up to that 250 area here over time. Now, we put this bottoming tail here and down all the way down to that 169.55 level, and then we've been doing a little bit sideways action. You can see how strong that 8-day was, kind of holding it all the way on down. Now we're going to use that bad boy there for support. So what we want to watch is right here, first of all, this 100-day, 181.31, and then we want to watch right there that 8-day at 179.70 level. Okay, we start losing that. Then we come down here, 176.50. We'll come down to the bottom there, 173.68. And then your retest there is 169.55 level. Okay, now again, if we lose that, we come right down to the bottom there, 166.74. And then we'll come down here at 164.07 level. Then we start looking at these tops here all the way on down before we hit that 200 SMA, sitting all the way down to 154. Reason being is as this rises on up, okay, we create that high, then it consolidates and it breaks out of that. Now that becomes support levels all the way on down. So that's why I have these blue lines. All they are just price channels. Makes life a lot easier. All you got to do is just look at the tops, and that's going to be your support lines going on here on the chart. Okay, now we're only sitting here at 45. That's not overbought or oversold. The green is still below your red because we can see the momentum to the downside situation. So for today is just watch this 100-day. That's going to be key. But the one that we really need to hold is that 179.72 level here. That's that 8-day simple moving average. And you have to crack above that 50-day. We have to crack above that 21-day. That's in order here to start hitting this top of that candle, and then maybe even that gap to fill, and then the bad retest. Okay, let's take a look here now at PLTR. All right, here we have PLTR. Now, this here is running here up very, very nicely. Pretty much the same kind of a situation as we had with the NVIDIA, okay? So what we had is we have this downtrending 8-day. Now, you can see where the price has been here above it the last 3-4 days here, okay? So very, very nice. Now, here on the upside, you have to get above and close above that 171.55. That's your resistance level. Your next level is 174.59. You have to get above that, and then we have that 50-day at 179.33. Very, very key. If we get above that, we'll come up here at that 182.70 level. Then we just march this bad boy right up here, 190.58. We'll come up top of this candle here at 194.93. And then we look right here at that 195.70. Now, there's your gap, is 195.70. And then we want to look to the bottom of this candle at 201.82. There's your fill. So we have your gap, your fill, and then your retest there at 207.52. Now, this company here has had really, really good numbers. So you look at these earnings here, see, they come and it just ran right up here nicely. Another good ran up situation. And then right here, we had a gap down situation, but PLTR is a really, really good, strong stock. And I think once we get above that 50-day, shouldn't be no problem hitting and retesting that 207.52. Just be a matter of time. Okay. Now here on the downside, really the key level is going to be watching that 8-day. 163.57. You got to hold that. If not, we're going to come down here to the bottom of this candle here. You're looking at 156.56. And then we have 154.40. And then we have your big retest down there at that 147.56. And then you have your 200-day obviously below that. Now, you're sitting here only at 47. This is not overbought or oversold. The green is here. It looks like if it can get to cross over that red, okay, that would show momentum there to the upside. But this 21-day, you can see how strong that is. Next level is going to be that 50-day. But we can crack above it, then we have pretty much open space here, until we hit the gap to fill and the possible retest. Okay, let's take a look here now at Tesla. All right, here we have Tesla. Now, this is here is running right into this 50-day and is having a very, very tough time with it, as you can see. See how we went into there? Went into there. Today we popped above it, but you got to be able to close above it. Now we're hanging right around that 21-day. So on the downside, just watch that 424.76. That's your 21-day. That's your support level. But this is going to be key, is going to be that 416.75. You want to make sure that you hold that 8-day. If not, if you don't hold that 8-day, we can come down to the bottom of this candle here. That's at 405.95 level. We come down here, looking at 401. A level, we can come down to the bottom here, 394, and then we have your 100-day here at 388, and then we have a big 382. That is going to be your big retest situation. Okay. Now again, if we lose that, you could just go right to the left here, and then we want to look at right there. Okay. 367.71. That's going to be next here. We come up to the top of this candle here, 357.54 level, and then we can work yourself all the way here to the top of that candle right there at 348.98 before we hit that 200-day at 341. Okay, so always look to the left of the chart because this provides a lot of good support, a lot of good downside targets. Now, easy way, obviously to trade this is TSLA for the long, but TSLS on the short side also worked very, very nicely. So again, today, just watch that 21-day, very, very key, and then watch that 8-day. Needs to hold that on a closing basis. Now, upside, you want to watch that 50-day, 433.84. We poked the head above it, but again, we got to close above it, and that's going to be very, very key. If we can go right to the next level. You're looking at 442.33, and then we'll come up here. We're looking at 449.67. And then we can work yourself all the way up to the top of this candle right there. You're looking at that 467 level, and then we have that big retest at 474.07. We crack above that, you can head right to that 500 mark. Okay. Now, again, their EV sales aren't really that good. You look in different countries, they're really not that good. However, they have the self-driving situation to go, and they have, a lot of this AI situation. So it's really not a car company, and it's very kind of hard to judge. If you just judge it by by being a car company, I don't think this stock, I think this stock would be half of what this is, if not a quarter of what this is. But again, you have other things that they have like in the mix with the solar, what I'm saying? They have a lot of things and these robotics in it. So again, you have to just take Tesla in how it is. But again, a good way to short this, if we start losing that 8-day, is TSLS. And that could be a nice good short down to the 100-day or possible retest. Okay. So obviously just watch that 21-day, but on the upside, watch that 50-day, because right now it's proven that it just can't get through that on a closing basis so far. Okay. So we got this 3 days sitting there, just sitting there. You got to get and close back above it. Now we're only sitting at 49. That's not overbought, oversold. The green is here is over your red. You got still plenty of room to run here. And it looks like we had this nice double bottom situation. See how we had this bottom here, 382.78, and then we retested that, okay, with that 383.76. So we have a nice higher low, a double bottom situation, and then she rallied right on up. So this could be just a little bit of consolidation. So just watch that 50-day. We get above that, and I think we can retest that 474 very, very easily. Okay, let's take a look here now at OS1Stream. All right, here we had the OneStream. Okay, now you can see here the last earnings that we had. This earnings here, it just dropped down and then we went sideways action, but we put this double bottom in there. See that 1651? Okay, all you got to do is look right to the left of the chart here, and what do you see? Okay, 1669. Double bottom situation. And then she had this earnings here and it rallied up very, very nicely, but it couldn't hold that key 200-day. However, now you look at it, okay, it sold ran off, but look how nice it held that 50-day. Okay, now she's riding that 21-day and that 8-day. Very, very nice. So downside, just watch right here. This is your key support level, is that 2080 level. Your next level is 2049. And then we have that 8-day sitting right there at that 2044. Okay, so a lot of support sitting right there. And if we lose that, then we'll come to the bottom of this candle, 2024. But realistically, you're looking to retest that 50-day again at 1938. Okay. Now we lose that, you could come all the way down here to this 18 level, and you can retest that 1651 level very, very easily. But right now we have like this uptrending action, looking very, very nice. So what we're looking for on the upside, look at today's high, 2131 level. Okay, next level is going to be right there at 2166, and then we'll come up top of this candle at 2211, and then we're looking for that 200-day at 2243. We crack above that. We got this candle here at 2313, and then we have that 2394. That's your big retest. We crack above that level, then we can start shooting for all these nice levels up here. 2426 level. We come up there at 2570 level. We'll come up here all the way up here to 26.91. And then this is what you'll be looking for, 27.22. There's your gap. Okay, then we look to the bottom of there, 27.86, your gap, your fill, and then we look to the top of that candle, 28.86, and then we could run it all the way up here to that 29.66 level. Okay, but right now we're holding all these key support levels except for the 50, and even that 50-day, the only one we're not holding here, we have to get above, is that 200-day. Okay, so just if you're trading this, just be a little bit patient and notice that how strong that 50-day held very, very nicely, and maybe we're going to be on an uptrend and aim for that 200 SMA. Now, we're looking here at 54. That's not overbought, oversold. This is like a sideways action because obviously that's what we have, sideways action. So let's just see if we can get a little run, maybe to that 200-day. You crack that, your next target's going to be that 23.94. All right, that's what I got for you. I'll be back here at the bit close. We'll take a look here at Bitcoin, Ethereum, gold, silver, crude oil, natural gas. And we'll see how it's all shaking out here. Right now, the market is kind of coming off here a little bit. It was rallying up very, very nice. But let's just see how we end at the end of the day here. All right, trade what's in front of you. Not what you want.